Greetings to all that are present, and I guess that's all. I can't really greet you if you're not here. I am Jared Johnson, the Jared J. Joining me again, for the second time so far, is Jacob Weedman. Welcome, Jacob Weedman. Thank you for being here once again. So this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about basketball, and more to the point, the National Basketball Association. So we're going to do a little something that my producing partner Chris Black suggested, toss this out as a topic. We're going to start it with Jacob and myself, and the topic is, if you could draft a team, and we're not going the whole bench and the G League starting five, but you can pick from every player that has ever played in the history of the National Basketball Association. What's your starting five? And then Jacob said, can we have a coach too? And I said, yeah, let's throw in a coach. So Jacob and I are going to do two-man draft. We did flip a battery. I have coins in my pocket, but Chris went in the other room and said, I got a battery. I said, oh, well, let's flip the battery. So we flipped heads and tails. We did positive and negative. So Jacob won the battery toss. So he's going to do the number one pick. So we're going to do a two-man draft where it's going to go Jacob, me, all the way down. He wants to, not only did he want to add a coach, he wants to start with the coach. And I'm okay with that too. So Jacob's got the number one pick because he won the battery toss. We're going to start with the coach. So Jacob Weedman, of every coach that's ever coached in the history of the National Basketball Association, who is your pick?
I think I need to call my advisor. I'm not
You
sure.
have your phone?
This is so difficult.
Yeah, we didn't discuss lifelines. Maybe we should have done that ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a draft.
You got, yeah.
I should have 5 minutes. No,
You're
I'll take Greg.
Let's start the clock.
I'll take Greg. Greg Popovich.
Greg Popovich.
Coach, in my opinion, the greatest coach of all time. Can be debated with Phil, and I guess y'all said Red, but
Yeah,
I'll take
well,
Greg.
you know, if you're sure about Greg Popovich, then we'll go ahead and
There you go.
put him down.
I mean, he transformed Kawhi, didn't he?
Okay.
Kawhi came in the league as just a defender.
A defensive player, yeah.
And then now if he could just stay healthy, he'd be top 10 all
if
time.
he can
in my
stay
opinion.
healthy, he's one of the deadliest overall players in the league. And not only
in league
just
history. I mean,
Popovich continuously develops players.
I know.
In that system.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely an understandable choice. All right. So for my coach, I'm gonna go with another guy that Jacob just mentioned. I'm going Red Auerbach.
I knew you'd do that.
When you can win that many titles in the span that he did, and I'll have to look up, I didn't research beforehand, but they won 11 titles in the span of like 13 years when he had Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, John Havlicek. Popovich is arguably the best coach of all time. Phil Jackson belongs in the conversation, but I think Red Auerbach set the standard.
Yeah.
So if they're going to dethrone him, they got to dethrone. If they're going to dethrone somebody, they got to dethrone Auerbach. So that's Red Auerbach's my coach. All right, Jacob Weedman. And we did discuss before the camera rolled. Jacob asked me, are we going to stick to traditional positions, or can I just pick five guys and throw them together? While either way would be a way to go and interesting, I said let's stay with traditional positions just to make it across the board as even as we can. All right, Jacob Weedman. So who is your center?
I will go ahead and take Shaquille O'Neal.
The big
Diesel.
massive, the big diesel, the big Aristotle.
Yep.
I will say the most physically imposing force in basketball history.
They call him the most dominant.
I mean, from just a physical power standpoint,
the most dominant player of all time.
you don't know. Dominance debatable depending on how we're using that term.
Well, Wilt wasn't as dominant because he lost 11. Just throw.
You're talking. You lost 11 what? Lost 11 what?
He didn't win 11 years in a row.
Well, neither did Shaquille.
No, but he lost. He lost to Bill Russell 11.
Okay, but we're talking about. See, and this is a topic within a topic. You're talking about his team success versus what the individual player did. But if you're talking about physical power and dominance, Shaquille's going to steamroll anybody.
I think Shaq would still run over Wilt. But
it's
usually
debated.
It's usually debated between Shaq and Wilt.
As far as being the best center of all time?
Who's the most like physically imposing and dominant? And I would give it to Shaq because Shaq was
the only advantage Wilt has is because in his era he was so much bigger than other people. But Wilt was 7'1", 275. Shaquille was 7'1", 340.
Like 350 or whatever.
So if you're talking just physical brute power, Shaquille's the answer. I mean, nobody's been that big.
There were other people Wilt's size at the time Shaq was dominating.
Oh, and they couldn't even keep him away from the paint.
So Shaq would kill Wilt. I mean, I'm sorry. That's
as far as that
and dominance.
It's just
in
physical
overpowering.
I don't think there's any way around that. Yeah. So for my center, I am going to take Wilt Chamberlain because while Shaquille was bigger and more powerful, Shaquille for his career I think averaged 23 points and 10.7 rebounds.
Yep.
Wilt averaged 30 points and 22.9 rebounds. So if you want to talk, what do you want to talk about? Dominance, actual putting up numbers, or dominance with physical size? Yeah, Wilt's not going to be able to stop Shaquille from scoring. Shaquille won't be able to stop Wilt either because of the skill level. So there's my choice at center. All right, Jacob Weedman, for your power forward.
I have not thought about power forward, but I'm going to do something that might come off as ridiculous. I'm going to take Giannis.
Oh, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I'm just going to do it, and I thought about taking Tim Duncan.
Well, I think most people would. He would cross most people's
minds.
But
I wanted to choose Giannis because of the athleticism. Because I was thinking about it's going to be across all of history, and I think a lot of past decades aren't going to be able to keep up with the size and athleticism.
The combination of his size, athleticism, the guy could get a rebound, block a shot, and then set up the offense on the other end. Keep the ball. Not pass it off, keep the ball and bring it up and set up the offense.
But here's the problem that I'm going to have is the shooting. The shooting is going to be a problem.
Yeah, but not, potentially, but...
So I'm going to have to figure that out with these next three.
But how does he work around that in the real league? He shoots sometimes, but he gets his points any way he wants.
But he's going to get in the way of Shaq, is my concern.
Your point's valid. But he's what now?
He's going to get in the way of Shaq.
Not necessarily, because Antetokounmpo is athletic enough. He's out on the perimeter when he wants to be. So I think you could make that.
Yeah. We can make it work.
If Popovich is your coach, he can find out a way to make that work. I wouldn't worry about that.
I just think of a pick and roll with Shaq and Giannis.
Oh, my gosh. And Giannis is a good enough passer to actually execute that. So they may not be Stockton and Malone, but they can...
No.
All right, so my power forward, I will admit, this is probably the toughest one for me.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
This is also going to sound crazy, and the matchup will be interesting because who I'm picking is very different stylistically than Antetokounmpo. I just can't go against Charles Barkley.
I thought of Chuck at one point.
I just can't. If you've been following the channel... You do know he's one of my all-time favorite players. I can make a case. I'll make a case for him being the best power forward of all time.
Whoa, okay.
Jerry's got the lead.
That's a topic for a topic. That's topic within topic. But here's my point, and I will keep it brief. If you haven't seen my list, my episode that Talmadge and I did, top 10 power forwards of all time, you can check that episode out. I go into more detail, but here's my point. And I'll keep this brief as I can. Charles was listed as 6'6", admits to being 6'4". For his career, he averaged 22.1 points, I believe, and 11.7 rebounds per game. Not only is that crazy for his height, but my question is, all these other legendarily great power forwards, Antetokounmpo, Duncan, Malone, any of those other guys.
Dirk.
Could any of them have even played power forward if they were Charles's height? I'm inclined to say no. Could some of them have been in the league? Yeah, because Nowitzki's shooting, he would have played small forward. Duncan's skilled enough. He maybe could have made it as a small forward. At 6'4", I don't think any of them could have played power forward, but I don't have to wonder if Barkley could because I saw the man do it, and he didn't barely compete. He was a dominant force. So it'll be a matchup problem, him trying to stop Antetokounmpo, but Antetokounmpo's got to stop him.
Yeah.
So you could say, but why would you pick Barkley? He's too small. Hey, it didn't hurt him in the real league when he really played. So that was a tougher one for me, but my power forward is Charles Barkley. All right, Jacob Weedman.
Ooh. See,
small forward.
I would go LeBron, but I just want to have good spacing. So
interesting.
I know what you're gonna say.
I think we all know where this is going.
I don't think you do.
But the spacing with LeBron, before we go on, why do you think you couldn't have good spacing with him? If you got
his best shooting years were in Miami, so he's a good enough shooter.
Okay.
However, I just feel like I want somebody who's also a deadly.
At this stage of his career, he's more of a.
Well, because we're taking them at their prime, correct?
You're taking them at their prime.
Yeah. So I
that's what I was gonna say. You don't need to worry necessarily about this stage of the career.
I certainly don't want to take him when he's old and decrepit.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he's 39 now. He's still not decrepit.
I'm still going to go with who I'm going to go with. I want to go with Kevin Durant.
Oh, okay.
Because he's an amazing 3-level scorer.
He is. He's a
I thought about Bird.
Shooter.
I thought about LeBron.
Right.
Yeah.
I already know who Chris's small forward is going to be.
Second place.
I thought about LeBron. I thought about Bird. But I just thought Kevin Durant is one of the best three-way scorers.
Durant's not a bad choice. He's a deadly scorer. He can drill the three. He's got shooting guard touch.
Yeah.
And he's 7 feet tall. So now you've got Antetokounmpo and Durant, who one of them's a great shooter, the other one's not, but they're both tall and agile. They can both rebound. They can both play defense. They can both run the floor. One of them can kill you with the three. Durant's not a bad choice.
But I need to get some older guys now. I want to mix it up, so I'm going to go older in a sec.
Oh, like from an older era?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say, if they're all in their prime, what's it matter if they're old now? You meant just guys.
I'm going back in time.
It took me a moment. I was like, okay. You just want some maturity in the locker room? I mean,
yes.
that's all right. Okay, my small forward. I figured you were going to go with LeBron. So I already have my mindset on Elgin Baylor, which I'd be very happy with. But now LeBron's available, so I can't not pick LeBron.
I set you up.
I can't. Elgin's one of my all-time favorites, and I think he's one of the greatest small forwards of all time and one of the best players of all time. I can't not pick LeBron now that he's an option. I didn't think he was going to be.
Yeah,
so, okay.
I set you up for success.
I wasn't expecting that to be a possibility, but thank you.
You're very
all
welcome.
right, so now
I think everybody knows who I'm going to pick. I think everybody knows.
Alex Inglis. Wait, he was a small forward.
I think everybody.
Kelly Tripucka, a favorite on the channel.
I mean, I think everybody knows who I'm going to pick. I'm trying to think of.
Luka Doncic.
Well, he's a point guard.
Is he or is he? I don't know if he's a true
They
point
use
guard.
him as a point guard, and they
Sometimes.
use Kyrie as the 2, usually.
Sometimes they kind of play interchangeably.
He's more of a shooting guard.
I think Luke.
And I agree.
Yeah,
but
but you can make a case. You can make a case for
we
that.
can make a case that he can play.
But either way, I'm gonna pick Mike Miller. I'm kidding. Could you
Of the
imagine?
Miami Heat and Memphis Grizzlies legendary fame.
Yep, you're right.
I actually have a friend in Kentucky named Mike Miller, but different Mike Miller.
No, I'm totally kidding. I'm gonna pick Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when I moved up to number 1.
Yeah, you know, I think if anybody didn't pick Michael Jordan, there'd be some.
Yeah, I mean, he with my spacing thing that I've been focused on, he's a good enough shooter. He'll make it happen. I think whenever he did the whatever celebration the first time, wasn't it like he made 6 threes?
He had 6
in the game?
threes in the first half.
In the first half. He's a good enough shooter. It's just at that time they didn't shoot a lot of threes. He's a good enough shooter. It's just they didn't shoot a lot at the time.
He wasn't a great three-point shooter, but if he played in today's era and needed to shoot more, he would. Or he could just play the way he wants to play and
but
still
he has the
destroy people with
mentality.
his athletic.
He would adapt.
athleticism. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could adapt.
Yeah.
Or he could just play the way he did, and people still wouldn't be able to slow
No.
him.
I mean, he's better than DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes to that.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Like his play style is similar to DeMar's, but it's phenomenally better.
Yeah, there's not really a comparison.
Like, and my point is, DeMar DeRozan fits in just fine.
He's good.
He's good.
I'm not saying that he isn't.
It's just like
yeah.
MJ has a far better skill set than DeMar. Like, he'd be fine.
Yes, I think.
So confused about where we went with this.
I was talking about spacing and how he doesn't.
Chris is like, why are we still on DeMar
Why are we
DeRozan?
still talking about Jordan and other people's? Jordan's just moved
Jordan is Jordan. Yeah. Anyways, let's go on.
All right. So I figured Michael Jordan would not be available.
So he's gonna pick Kobe Bryant.
Yes, I am going to pick Kobe
Yeah.
Bryant. Why on earth would I not pick Kobe Bryant
Yeah.
at this point? I'm not even. I could talk for a long time about pretty much anything. I'm not even going to say anything else. Just why wouldn't I pick Kobe at this point?
No.
All right, so Jacob Weedman, your point guard. You
This
told
is
me
so
earlier
tough.
who you like to emulate as a child, who we both agreed is one of the best point guards of all time.
But
That doesn't mean you would pick him here. I'm just saying.
all time he's gonna get killed.
And
I
Chris Paul's who we're referencing.
Yeah,
For those
Chris
of
Paul.
You, if you hadn't seen the other episode with Jacob Weedman and myself, you can check that
yes,
out too.
it's probably the one right before this.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be
Yeah.
pretty likely.
Now
All
you
right.
have to make it that way.
Yeah,
So,
now that we've said that, I think or I could throw him a curveball and just not do that.
Yeah, you could. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I have 3 point guards
You're
in my
stuck
head,
like a constipated pig in mud.
but I think I'm gonna go for Magic Johnson.
My all-time personal favorite player.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to be too dejected by
I
that.
thought about Oscar Robertson.
Oh, yeah.
And then I thought about Steph Curry, obviously, just because he's the greatest
Why
shooter of all
wouldn't you
time.
think about both of them?
But I decided I'm going to just get the best point guard of all time.
Well,
Might be the smart pick.
Yeah. I mean, and he fits in well, too, because my team is so big, they're so long, that I just...
and you got so many other guys that can score. You don't need.
I don't
him
need
to.
Steph. I don't... It's not a need.
It may take me some time to recover from the fact that I don't now get to pick Magic.
Favorite player.
My all-time favorite player.
Did you have him as your...
Oh, he's my favorite. My personal favorite. He's my number one. He's the reason I started watching basketball as a child.
Well,
But you picked first, so I have no. It's not a complaint. It's just.
I mean,
Man.
who else did you think I was going to pick?
Oh, I thought you surely would. I was just hoping that I could still get. But at this point, Oscar Robertson is my point guard. There's not.
I really debated between the Big O and Magic. That was a
There's
huge
no
debate.
debate for me. It was going to be Magic, but now that he's not available, it's Oscar. And
Yeah.
Stephen Curry would have been my next choice.
Yeah.
All right, so to recap, Jacob Weedman has a lineup of Shaquille O'Neal at center, Giannis Antetokounmpo at power forward, Kevin Durant at small forward, Michael Jordan at shooting guard, Irvin Magic Johnson at point guard, coached by Greg Popovich.
That's a team.
I have Wilt Chamberlain at center, Charles Barkley at power forward, LeBron James at small forward, Kobe Bryant at shooting guard, Oscar Robertson at point guard, coached by Red Auerbach. So stay tuned for a follow-up episode where we have Chris Black and Talmadge Roger Varnado III also drafting their all-time players, but the guys that we just picked will not be eligible. So there's that. We can't really have real-life games with these guys because some of them are not even amongst the living at this point. And also, why would they do this even if we wanted them to?
They would
so
not
there's that.
do that for us.
No.
And I don't think Irvin could keep up with LeBron anymore.
At this stage, I'm pretty sure that would be rather challenging. Yeah.
Same for Bird.
We didn't. Neither one of us picked Bird.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm
true.
pretty sure he's going to be on somebody's.
He's
roster.
going to be on somebody's team.
We don't. You don't even know how
We're
much.
looking at the one
You
who's
don't
gonna-
even know how much Chris likes Larry Bird. He will be on somebody's team. All right. So there was that for today. Hope you all enjoyed it. Wish we could see these games actually take place with these lineups. But if you did like the episode, please show that by clicking the like button. And if you have not already subscribed, please go ahead and do that. It really will enable me more than y'all think to continue bringing you this type of content as well as many other types. So for Jacob Weedman, I am Jared Johnson, the Jared J. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope I see you again real soon. So yeah.